Could there be a market crash coming up soon? Some experts say that a big drop might be on the way, and if it does happen, it might be worse than most people think. You might be wondering, how does this affect me? If you have XRP though, you should take this very seriously. In fact, this possible crash could have a big effect on the money you've put into things. Black Monday usually refers to a sharp drop in the stock market that sends shockwaves through the global economy. This has happened before, most notably in 1987, but recent market conditions and trends have many people speculating that another major downturn could be on the way. Whether you're an experienced investor or new to the game, the truth is that market crashes happen, can affect all assets, even cryptocurrencies like XRP. Digital currencies may seem separate from traditional financial systems, but they often follow the same trends, especially when it comes to investor fear and panic. If the traditional markets take a big drop, cryptocurrencies might not be able to avoid the fallout, and XRP is one example, could get caught in the rough weather. As an investor, you should know how these changes in the market might affect your money and what you can do to get ready. You don't want to be caught off guard when things go bad. It's not time to worry, it's time to know the risks and stay ahead of the curve so that you're not caught off guard when things go bad. Left asking what happened. To fully understand the effects a possible market crash could have, it's first important to look at what Black Monday really means in terms of money. Black Monday is when market prices drop dramatically and quickly, usually in traditional stock markets. The most famous example of this is the crash of global stock markets in 1987, which sent shockwaves around the world. On that one day, the stock market lost almost 23% of its value, which shocked many investors who were scrambling to limit their losses. While that crash is remembered as one of the worst in history, the term Black Monday doesn't have to refer to just that one event. It can be used to describe any sudden drop in the value of a security. The markets and spreads fear. So why should people who own XRP worry about a possible Black Monday? Even though XRP is part of the cryptocurrency market, it doesn't work alone. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP are still heavily affected by what happens in traditional financial markets when the stock market or the world economy is unstable. Many investors see cryptocurrencies as part of a larger portfolio. When traditional assets like stocks or bonds go down in value, people often sell off a variety of holdings to reduce risk, including their digital assets. This can cause a rapid drop in crypto prices, but XRP probably wouldn't be affected by it. Not be affected by these changes. Even though XRP is thought to have a lot of real-world uses, and Ripple's main goal is to make cross-border payments easier, the mood of the market as a whole can still have a big effect. For example, when fear spreads in the financial world, investors tend to move their money to safer assets, leaving riskier investments like XRP open to attack. What happened on Black Monday? It is important to know that panic selling in markets could cause the price of XRP and other assets to drop significantly. This is something that all XRP holders should be ready for. Understanding how markets work and predicting how XRP will react could help protect your investment when things start to look uncertain now. Now that we know what Black Monday means and how it might affect the market as a whole, let's take a closer look at how XRP might be affected by a market crash. When the stock market drops quickly, it's not just stocks that suffer. Cryptocurrencies like XRP often experience the same level of volatility. However, XRP has its real-world usefulness in making cross-border payments quick and cheap, gives it a unique place in the market. It is still very connected to the world's financial systems and how investors feel about them. One important reason why a market downturn could affect XRP is the way investors act. When markets are safe, investors are more likely to take risks and hold assets like cryptocurrencies. That includes XRP. But when there is a lot of doubt, people tend to put their money into safer assets like gold or government bonds, and not stocks or cryptocurrencies. This change in how investors act is caused by fear, and fear causes huge sell-offs in both standard and crypto markets. If a Black Monday happened, XRP's price will drop sharply, as buyers sell off their crypto holdings in a panic to protect their money. Ripple is still having legal problems with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. This could hurt XRP during a market crash. However, Ripple has made a lot of progress in defending XRP against any bad events. Fear and uncertainty in the market could get worse if the SEC case goes badly. This could make investors even less interested in XRP, which would cause its price to drop sharply in a market that is already unstable. Also keep in mind that even though financial institutions use XRP for real-world purposes, the cryptocurrency market is still very new. It is still mostly based on guesswork. In reality, XRP's price, like the prices of many other digital assets, is affected by market sentiment, news, and broader economic factors. not just how useful it is. This means that when market conditions get unstable, XRP could still be affected by the negative psychological effects of a Black Monday scenario, where panic and fear often cause price drops and no cryptocurrency is immune. These forces can affect any cryptocurrency, not even XRP. But it's not all bad news. A possible market crash could hurt XRP in the short term, but markets usually recover after big drops. People who can hold on to their assets during times of volatility may be able to make a lot of money when the market settles down again. People who own XRP should remember that this is an investment for the long term, and while a market crash might cause some short-term problems, the real-world use case for XRP still has a lot of value. This means that even if the price drops, there may still be chances to buy at a lower price and hold for future gains. It's important to know the risks and how XRP might respond to changes in the market, but it's also important to keep your eye on the big picture by staying calm, keeping an eye on the market, and being ready to make smart choices. We now know what might happen if the market crashes, so you can weather the storm, and maybe even take advantage of future chances, even if it's Black Monday. The question still stands: what should people who own XRP do to get ready? It's hard to say for sure when or how a market crash like Black Monday will happen, but there are things you can do to protect your investment and lower your risk. First, it's important to control your risks. No one wants to think about their money going down in value, but that's a fact of the cryptocurrency world, which is why it's important to have a plan in place to deal with risk. One important strategy is diversification. Even if XRP is a big part of your portfolio, spreading your money across other assets like stocks, commodities, or other cryptocurrencies can help you handle a market drop. Diversification makes you less dependent on a single asset and can help smooth out the market. The ups and downs of your savings. Setting stop loss orders is another risk management tool to think about. You can tell an exchange to buy or sell an asset when it hits a certain price. For example, if you set a stop loss for XRP at a certain price, the exchange will sell your XRP when it falls to that price, limiting your possible losses. It's not a perfect plan, and you might have to sell off your assets during a short-term drop, but it can help you avoid bigger losses during a market crash.